Good morning. We're here to chat today about career exploration. I first want to say I wish we were doing this in person. It's so much better to see y'all and chat and have some good discussion. I appreciate when y'all can learn from each other rather than just learning from the things that I say. So know that these videos probably won't be as long because there just isn't as much to say when people aren't asking questions, but I'll do my best to share as much information as I can without hopefully boring you. So the career exploration unit is mostly just to help y'all start to identify what kind of a career interests you and what kind of a career works for your skill set. There's a lot of jobs you could get. There's a lot of things you could do. It's important to remember that your career is ever changing, more than likely. You're probably not going to have one job and work in that career for your entire life. I have been working in the field of higher education for 15 years, but these are ever-changing times, and you need to be ready to adjust. For some folks, being a barista at a coffee shop is your ideal career. For other folks, you may have ideas about a career that is a little more complex or involved. And I think thinking about your values and figuring out what kind of work you want to do is really important. It's important to remember that the new economy is changing. It's global, right? It's not just a local economy, and the economy is not just American. There's a lot of things to consider when thinking about a global economy. And that means you could work almost anywhere. The economy right now is a little bit unstable, and it's probably even more unstable now than it was a couple of weeks ago. You're probably noticing a lot of small businesses are suffering from the effects of people being quarantined at home. The economy is really unstable right now, and that just means you need to have a good skill set so that you are ready to work wherever there is work. The economy is very, I shouldn't say that, the economy is very innovative. And what that means is there's a lot of room for y'all to do various kinds of work and do different kinds of things. There's not a lot of boundaries anymore, but it is very social. It requires a lot of working together. It requires a lot of working with others. It requires new careers are requiring a lot of ability to work with others and problem solve. But also the career economy is ever changing. It's important that you get skills, but what's most important is that you learn how to learn. And that's one of the things we talk about in college is that going to college doesn't just show that you have a certain skill set. Sure, if you want to be the nurse, you have to have a skill set to be a nurse. But at the end of the day, one of the more important things is your ability to learn new material, your ability to critically think. You may not have to recall the things you learned in your biology class because you're going to be the foreman on a construction site, but your ability to learn and work with others will be really important. And your ability to adapt. You are, like I said, probably going to have to change careers in your life. You may get involved in working a career, and 10 or 15 years down the road, that career just simply doesn't exist anymore. And so you need to find ways to be adaptable and to apply your skill set to many different things. Things that our employers are looking for, the ability to work in a team structure. So being able to go to an interview and talk about a time when you worked on a team, when you successfully did something as a part of a team. Because so much of the career economy is about working together and working with others. The ability to make decisions and solve problems. I think when you go to an interview, someone's going to ask you about a time when, and you need to be able to recount, because saying on a resume, I make decisions, or I can solve problems, or I'm a good problem solver, isn't going to be good enough. You need to be able to talk about a time when that happened. And so being able to recount exact experiences that you have had. The ability to plan, organize, and prioritize. Because things can change so quickly, employers want to see that you know how to prioritize important things. that in a time of crisis like we're facing right now, that you can get things organized and you can get things done and you can do the important things first. And again, being able to talk about it is one thing, because you can't really show them in an interview, but you also need to be able to give specific examples. So thinking about getting a job now where you're going to get some of these experiences so that you can talk about them in the future. The ability to communicate with people inside and outside of the organization. That means, how well do you build relationships? Do people like you? Do people want to work with you or for you? Can you communicate information clearly and concisely? Can you motivate others to do their work? It's really important to be able to find ways to get these experiences while you're in college, whether it's an internship or a job that gives you this kind of experience, because you want to be able to talk about it. Values and skills. One of the reasons we talk about values so early in the class is because it really does have a lot to do with how you continue to move forward in your life. What do you want in a career in relation to how you want to live? We typically think about, do you want the kind of job where you're on call all the time? Do you want the kind of job where you're in an office all day? I mean, if you value getting outside and doing things and working with your hands, then maybe being an accountant is not going to fill the bucket for you. Do you want a career where maybe you're a stockbroker and you're dressing up nice for work every day and you're constantly working and you're on all the time and maybe you travel? Is that something, does that fall into your values? Does working late hours fall into your values? If you're gonna have kids and a family and stay in Utah, then maybe that's not the best work for you. Do you want a job where things are flexible so you can be at home more? Do you want a job where you can work at home? Or do you want a job where you travel? Maybe you want to get out there and see and do things. And so I think thinking about what is valuable to you and what's important in your life and how your career lines up with those. If you think it's really important and you value social interaction and working with others and working on a team, then maybe being an accountant is not a good move for you. That is not going to make you happy. When we think about skills, they typically fall into 3 categories when it comes to looking for work. We're talking about personal skills, just the kind of thing that you're good at, and having good skills and working with others. Workplace skills, things you can do in the workplace, things you've learned to do that you can talk about, and then transferable skills. Those might be the most important. Those are things that, if my skill set is problem solving and critical thinking, that's really transferable. And so I need to be able to talk about that and how I can do that almost anywhere and how that's going to benefit me in most positions. Transferable skills are really important in the workplace, because if you're in a career where maybe you've been working in education for a long time, but you want to get out and do something different, if all you have is workplace skills, then you can't talk to others about how you can come work for their nonprofit, because you have no nonprofit experience. You've only worked in education and you're not able to articulate what your transferable skills are. And so it's really important to continue to develop transferable skills. I always recommend people to work in college. Start gaining professional experience. Start earning money to help with living expenses and also to create some independence for yourself. It's a really good feeling to be able to take care of your own stuff at some point. I can't tell you how many students I know that are not currently doing anything to help with the finances at their house. But when you graduate, like I said, taking classes and showing you can learn is one thing, but having experience in the workplace to be able to talk about is the most important thing. If I have a student come interview with me and they cannot articulate a time that they've worked on a team or a time that they've solved a problem or a time that they've dealt with a really cranky customer, then they don't have much to say in the interview. I don't want to just look at a resume. A resume gets you in the door, right? A resume is the reason I call you, but you've got to have something to talk about when you sit down. I also encourage people to work in college because it's great for making connections. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know who they know or how that can help you in the future. And I'm not saying that to like say you should use people. I'm saying that to say consider that when you meet a lot of people and when you network with more people, you have more opportunities to find out about jobs and positions and openings and experiences that you may want. I also think that working in college really helps you learn more about yourself. We're going to talk about emotional intelligence later in this semester. It's one of my favorite units. But you need to know who you are. One of the things that I experience a lot with college students is the idea that who you think you are and who you want and who you actually are not the same thing. A lot of times in college, people are talking about, oh, I eat very healthy and I really like healthy foods and I like to take care of myself. But then their actions are very different from that. So their self-awareness is very low. I eat really healthy. So we have, as a side, we have a lot of students who say, I get a lot of feedback from dining services on campus, and students say, I just want more healthy options. There's never anything healthy to eat. I just want more healthy choices. And I find it almost hilarious because their perception of who they want others to think they are, a healthy person, and who they really are, a person who eats chicken fingers, is a little skewed because we throw away brown rice, we stop making wheat bread, we stop making wheat crust, we throw away veggies, we have salad go bad. All of these things are out and available for people to purchase, but their buying habits say different. I cannot sell enough chicken fingers, slices of pizza, and burgers. And so learning about who you really are, not who you want other people to think you are, but who you actually are, and being able to be honest about that. Because as you get older, you're going to want to be able to talk to others about who you actually are in an interview and not sell yourself as something you're not. It's really dishonest. And I've definitely interviewed people who told me all this stuff about who they were, and then I worked with them and thought, boy, you don't know yourself at all. You're saying you're really organized, but you're not organized at all. And I think having a job in college can help you start to understand who you are and what your skill set is. Also, it helps you develop some key skills. Teamwork, communication, problem solving, work ethics. Those are the kinds of things that employers want to hear about. And they want to hear about experiences you've had with them. Anybody can answer a phone, right? Anybody can check out a customer and scan their groceries. Anybody can say that they've done those things. Anybody can say that they have experience filing. But you need to be able to talk about some real skills and attributes that you have. I looked at a lot of your resumes. Some of y'all didn't turn them in, but I want to share some feedback that I think is important. When it comes to this, you want to think about how you're marketing yourself. And the format for a resume is normally chronological and skill focused. So I want to see the things that you've done most recently at the top, and then the other things at the bottom. Also, at some point, the things you did in high school, they need to start falling off. So you need to start filling your resume with these experiences, because most employers don't want to hear about how you were in the honor society in high school. That doesn't really tell me anything. They want direct experience, related experience. So if you have a couple of experiences and you're applying for a job at a veterinary clinic, don't tell me about how you have experience, plumbing, because that's not really helpful. I want to know about your experience that's related. So you need to tailor your resume for different positions. Also, quite a lot of you duplicated some skills. So if you worked at Smith's and you were a manager there and you had some experience doing a variety of things, but then you also had a job at Ross and you were in charge of security there, I don't want to hear about how you worked with customers twice in a row. If you've worked with customers at one experience, that's the only time I need to see it on the resume. So I don't want to see provided customer service under every job you've ever had. And so thinking about not duplicating the things that you're saying. It only takes me about 10 to 15 seconds to look at a resume. So on average, employers spend 7 to 10 seconds looking at resumes. They're looking for keywords. They're looking for key experiences. They're looking for longevity of work. And if they don't see it, they're moving on. You can create a skills-focused resume. My resume at the top has some skills, but it's not just skills like team building, because anybody can say that they can do that. It actually has some skills and then some successes I've experienced. So if one of my skills is budget management, then being able to say, in 2018, I was able to help move my organization in the positive direction and maintain a balance at the end of the year where we were able to actually save some money, or I was able to cut employee expenses by 5% to continue saving my company money. So those are very specific skills that you can use. But you need to start thinking about what you're going to put in your resume. Because taking classes is great and showing you're in college or graduated from college is necessary. But if that's all you have, if you haven't volunteered at an organization and been able to talk about what that volunteer work looks like and what you did, leading others or starting new projects or creating or inventing or building, then your resume is not going to stand out. So last, I'm posting this link to this TED Talks video. It'll be separate in here as well. I want you to watch this video and then write your reflection on it, as well as your 3-2-1. So this is kind of your in-class assignment. All right. Thanks for listening, y'all. If you have any questions, feel free to send them my way.